What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video your girl is here to bring you another 3 looks 1 palette. And for this 3 looks 1 palette, I am going to be featuring the Hummingbird palette that is a collaboration between Oden's Eye and the Fancy Face. So this palette is really pretty, super pretty, as you can see. By the time this video goes up, the swatches for this palette specifically will be on my Instagram, so feel free to check them out. I will be talking on my opinions of this palette and how every lash shadow performs at the end. This is look number 3, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get to it. Alrighty guys, so today I'm going to be doing my first look and my multi-look video with the Hummingbird collaboration or palette with Oden's Eye and the Fancy Face or Tina. And first what I'm going to do is go into the shade Hibiscus with a big fluffy blending brush. And as you can see on my left eye, this is going to be the crease color. So take your time with the application of this. Make sure that not only it is nice and even, or the application method that you like, because some people like to bring more of the color on the outer edge and less on the inner edge, but mainly focus on the blending out of the outer portion of this shade, because there will be no other shade to really kind of cover it up. If you do clean up the underside of your brow like I have done today, and let's say you bring the shade up too high, you can always go in with whatever shade you use to set that area and just kind of bring it down to help with the blending if you feel like you've done something you cannot blend out with the brush. Then I just kind of pack on slightly on this outer edge, just so that when I do deepen up my outer edge, it has some of that pinky shade there to work it out. So that's kind of the beginning steps. Then what I'm going to do is get a smaller blending brush. This one happens to be from Coastal Scents. They're no longer a brand. Just get a smaller brush and then go into the shade Star Apple, which on first glance looks to be a really deep blue, but I think it's more of a blurple. There's definitely some purple in there, or maybe it's just the act of me applying it with this pinkier shade that brings out some purple or kind of makes it into a purple. I don't really know. This is the first time that I'm really playing with this palette, although I have done swatches, and hopefully by the time I get this video up, at least the swatches will be apparent on my Instagram. So yeah, just take the time to really deepen out that outer V and then blend and out the outer portions of that deepener shade, making sure that everything is seamless as much as possible, of course. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is actually go back into that brush. I'm just gonna tap a little bit of the powder or the shade on one part of my brush, and then use that to do my lower lash line. I do not normally recommend or do this, but I am very low on brushes because I've been being difficult and not cleaning my brushes. So this is kind of what I do to make up for that. Then I'm gonna take the same Hibiscus brush shade. I just added just a little bit of that pinky shade just so I can blend out my lower lash line. Okay, I did bring it down just a little bit too low. I'll work on that. But this is pretty much the crease. Really pretty colors, really beautiful pigmentation. I expected nothing less, honestly. There was a little bit of kick up, which I just blew off, but that does not faze me. And I also am just a hard like presser, so that's probably why, honestly. Then what I'm gonna do is take one lid brush. This one happens to be from Eciem. This is their G27. I think all of my my W21 brushes are all dirty, so that's why I picked this one. And I put some NYX glitter glue on, and I'm going to cut my lid. Okay, and then I'm just going to take that same brush that I had, the darker shade. I did pick up just a little bit of product, and I'm just going to do that outer edge of that NYX glitter glue. You guys know that's a staple for me. Then I'm going to go into the shade Hummingbird, and this is a really beautiful deep purple. There's definitely some lighter blue like glitter in this as well, not in a bad way, in a really good way. It kind of adds some multi-dimensionality to this shade, and I think this shade could easily really work beautifully with not only the purple that I have in this look, but also with the deep blue that is in this palette as well. So I really like that glitter in there. Okay, so now what I decided to do is just to add a little bit of brightness in that inner corner, as I think everybody really does or strives to. And then I'm gonna go into Beach Sands, which is this typical bronzy goldie-ish shade. I am gonna use a different brush. This one happens to be a Chikuhodo GSN 09. Child, I bought this when I was in the throw of getting every brand name designer brush. This is a really nice brush. It's very extremely soft, so if you are interested, I mean, hey, go for it. But can I afford this brush now that I've come to my senses? No, but I'm gonna use it since I have it. So yeah, anyways, I'm just applying this on the very beginning of my lid and in my inner corner, and then the lower lash line, just the very beginning. On my upper lid, I am just working on blending the shade really nicely into the beginning of that purple shade, just so it blends good. I think that I had more room to do this on the other eye. I stopped a little bit shorter on this one that I'm doing with you guys, but it's okay. It'll work. Okay, and even this gold shade, it has like silver glitter in there as well. So really interesting just playing with this palette for the first time. I'm really enjoying some of the nuances that I did not see when I did swatches. So what I'm gonna do is do my liners and mascaras. For liner, I have my Pastel Dream liner. I think this is in baby pink. On my lower lash line, I put my LA Girl black in my tight line, and then I'm going to be using my 2 mascaras. So I'm going to do all of this really quickly off camera, and then I'll come back to show you guys the finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. So like I said, this is the finished first look. I think it's really bright, refreshing, really cute look. I'm really excited to wear something like this all day. I think it's, I just really do like it. So far, definitely thinking that this is the typical Odens eye formulation that I have gotten accustomed to. I do still want to do 2 more looks though. If you're wondering, the other stuff that's on my face, it's all Project Pan. By the time this video goes up, you guys will have seen the makeup Project Pan, so I will have that link down below. Later this week, my eyeshadow palette Project Pan will be airing in case you are interested. And yeah, let's get into look number 2. Hey guys, so we're here to give you guys look number 2, and as you can see, I've already done one eye and we're going to be doing the other eye together. I always do my right eye with you guys, and like I just was in the motions watching YouTube and I just started with that eye. So hopefully I can still do a decent look on my left eye with you guys. It's just my right eye is easier to do, you know? Anyways, okay, so big fluffy brush. This happens to be the Sigma E40. I'm gonna go into the shade Lagoon. And as you can see, that is pretty much my main slash only crease color. I am going to be using another color to blend it out, but it doesn't really appear like as pigmented. So I definitely want to work with that shade to see what's going on, to see if there's a way for me to kind of manipulate that color to really be more apparent. Anyways, so I'm just going to take the time to pack this shade on pretty much all throughout the crease in that outer V area. I want to make like a nice little circle as I have on this side, and I'm gonna pretty much stop like right there. That's pretty much gonna be what it is. Then I'm just gonna take whatever product is still on my brush and just begin the blending process. I'm not going to fully blend it with this brush. I am, like I said, going to go in with a lighter shade, but I do like to kind of start the blend with the actual shade that it already is. That's just a personal preference for me. Then I'm going to take a bigger fluffy brush. This one happens to be the Eddie Funkhauser. believe this is like their large crease brush. I'm not really sure. And then I'm going to go into the shade Clear Blue. So this is kind of what I was expecting to really give me like a super big difference on that outer edge. I don't think it really did, but you know, once again, I'm going from a very dark, you know, pigmented shade to a very light shade. As you can see, it definitely does lighten up the area. That without a doubt is a thing, but it didn't. I just threw my whole brush. Hold on. Okay, so where was I? Basically, it did lighten up the area, but it just didn't do exactly what I was envisioning. But it is okay. I am just going to work with it as I did with my other eye, just to make sure everything kind of hopefully is somewhat similar. So this is pretty much how my crease is. It's pretty much that. Now, as always, what I'm going to do is start to cut my crease with my lid brush. Today's lid brush is still the ECM G27. I've moved my brushes to my bathroom, so we're getting closer to washing them, but we're still not there yet. Okay, so let me get some NYX glitter glue on my brush. Appears I have less than I thought. That's insane. Well, that'll be a nice easy gimme product for my project pan then. I did not expect that much air to be in it. Anyways, so I'm just gonna cut my crease really quickly. Okay, after cutting my crease, what I'm gonna do, as always, go back in with that first brush or my crease brush and just apply some of that shade on the outer edge of that NYX glitter glue. And as you can see, it is deeper, but that will actually work in my favor for what I want. I always do kind of like a deeper, really outer V, and since I'm only using one color, it actually works nicely. I'm just going to try and make sure that that appears all throughout that area. You see how it now, it kind of is even with the deepener part. I hope that makes sense. I probably don't make any sense. Anyways, next I'm going to go into the blue shimmer, which is Blue Fields. I am going to use the side that I actually had the NYX glitter glue on, just to make sure it really adheres. And I am going to start on the outer portion of my lid, right kind of in between where that matte started and where there's kind of the free glitter glue. And we're going to slowly bring this in towards my inner corner. Okay, so all of that, you see how it really lays down nicely from lash line all the way up Really, really good. Then I wanted to add just a little bit of spice, a little bit of color in this look. So I decided to go into the shade Feathers, which is the metallic green. I am just going to use the other side of this brush. I do tend to do that all the time, so it will help in the next process after I lay this green down. So like I said, I'm just gonna lay the green down, and I slightly move my face so that I don't accidentally put any of that dark blue in my inner corner, because that's not the shade at all that I want in there. I definitely only want, of course I had some speck of blue there. It's okay. I definitely just wanted that green there and at the beginning of my lower lash line. As you can see, that's happened. And I'm just going to make sure this upper part is good. Then what I like to do is blend back and forth between the two lid shades. So having some of the blue and some of the green on that same brush makes it easier for me to blend back and forth. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna do. I really like it. We're almost done. So now what I'm gonna do is take that same Sigma brush. When I use big fluffy brushes like this, I tend to make sure that I put the pigment on the side that I can push up against my lower lash line, so it doesn't get too far away from me. Especially when I'm in this position where I have no brushes really. So I just need to use a big brush like this. So I'll do that, and then I'll start to blend once again with the brush there's like no pigment on the top, and then I'll go in with the bigger of the two brushes with whatever is left of that light blue and blend it out again. And so that's how I create my lower lash line in the instance as I am now, where I have no small, well, I do have small brushes, but honestly I can't be bothered to dirty up even more brushes than I already have. So final touches for this look, all I need to do is put on my tight line and waterline color. I am just going to use black because I really wanted to just deepen up and kind of set this look down to like even it out a little bit, because it's really bright in color. So I wanted to kind of center it, does that make sense, or ground it, that. And then I'm gonna put my two mascaras on. So putting these on, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna put on my lips, probably Project Pan, let's face it, and then I'll be back to show you guys my finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. Alrighty, so like I said, this is the finished look for look number 2. I'm really enjoying it. It's nice and bright, airy, springy, summery time, and today I can use that. It is very overcast. It's been raining, so this palette has just been really a fresh breath of fresh air between all of my darker, swarthier type palettes. I definitely want to play with a couple more. Tomorrow is the look that I am so excited for, because I am going to be playing with Fancy, and I'm also going to be playing a little bit more with these two mattes. I can't decide which one I'm going to use, but I'm excited nonetheless. So stay tuned for look number 3. It's coming up right about now. Alrighty guys, so I'm here to do look number 3, and I'm really excited. It may look like a very subtle neutral look, but this shimmer is bomb, and hopefully as I move around you guys will see that. But let's do the look together. So first what I'm gonna do is go into the shade Red Hills, and this is going to be my main and pretty much only crease color. If you're wondering, I am using a new base. I am using the base from my Project Pan in my eyeshadow palette, Project Pan. You guys will be seeing that on Friday, so just stay tuned. If you're like really pressed and you really want to know, it is just the eyeshadow base in the Huda Beauty nude palette. So I'm just really blending that in, going up and about, just really fluffing out that crease shade. Then what I'm doing is going into a pinched crease brush, and I am going into the shade Star Apple. What I found unique about this shade is that when being applied with that Red Hill shade, to me it looks like a normal brown. I don't see it pulling any form of purple tone. So this is a very unique subtle but very unique and interesting matte shade. Now I may just be milking it and just not seeing. I think on camera it's pulling a little bit more pinky than it, or purpley than it does in person, but to me it pulls very, very brown, which is good. It's a very versatile shade. I think yesterday it pulled more purpley, and then this time it isn't. I'm sure that has to do with undertones and of course what shade you're pairing it with, but it's a really, really cool shade and I'm really enjoying playing with it. Now I did pull it up a little bit more than I did on the other eye, so I am gonna have to kind of go back and even out this eye just a smidgen, just so that everything works together. Okay, anyways, then what I'm gonna do is cut my lid. So as I've been doing with every look this week, I am going to be using, well, not this week, this video, I'm going to be using my NYX glitter glue and a flat brush. This one happens to be a Chikuodo GSN09. I mean, I'm sure I probably shouldn't be using a cream product with this brush, but honestly I'm getting to the nubbins when it comes to my lid brushes, and it'll be okay. It'll be okay, or it won't, and it will have lived its purpose. I've had this brush for quite some time. So anyways, doing that, then of course as normal, getting the last brush that I had my crease shadow in, or crease shade on, and then blending out that outer edge. Okay, and now for the best part, we're going to go into the shade Fancy, and this is going right on my lid. And I'm also going to take that exact same shade and go into my inner corner in the beginning of my lower lash line area. And that's it. I want that lid shade to be my main piece in this whole look. The only kind of thing that I did, just because honestly I couldn't be bothered to find my liquid liner, is I took a little bit of the Star Apple on a really small pencil brush, and I just created like a faux liner look. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna just throw on my normal liner, normal mascaras, and I will pop on to show you guys the finished look. Alrighty guys, so this is the finished look. And yeah, like I said, this is the finished look. Creating my 3 looks with this beautiful, beautiful palette. And I believe I successfully touched every last shade, except maybe not Tropics. I don't think I actually used Tropics in a look, but I believe every other shade I used in a look. And overall, what I must say is that this palette is beautiful. I really enjoy the shades, both the matte and the shimmer selection. I would say I wouldn't hate for there have been a green matte instead of honestly this clear blue. For me, preference wise, I would have definitely cleaned that clear blue out, put in a vivid bright green, and I think it would have just elevated this palette a little bit more, even played a little bit more with what you can see with the lid shade, which is the fancy shade. I think that this shade is so subtle but so beautiful at the same time. It is a multi-chrome, which I love and I really do appreciate, and I think also it's like one of those subtle multi-chromes that you can actually wear every day and get so much use out of it, whereas some of the multi-chromes that are out there on the market, they're super pigmented, super big vam bavoom, and you maybe won't be able to wear something like that to work, whereas this is a work appropriate multi-chrome in my opinion. All of the other shimmers, they all have a very different texture. So Bluefield, Hummingbird, Swallowtail all have like a thicker metallic-y texture, and then you see Beach Sands, Tropics, and Feathers, which still are metallics, but they're a lighter, they're not as thick of a shade. And also Beach Sands actually has some like silver glittery situation going on. Like I said, Fancy is a multi-chrome, and then everything else are just beautiful mattes. I did not find that any shadow in this palette at all was hard to work with, hard to blend, any of that. Like I said, if anything, I would have just gotten rid of the Clear Tails shade, but that is a personal preference. It is not a problem faultiness or anything like that. Overall, really happy that I picked this up. Extremely excited to have this in my collection. This will definitely be a palette that I reach for, whether it is to do like a shop my stash or whether it is to do like anything like normal looks, fancy looks. I think this is just a really nice palette overall. I would love to hear you guys' opinions. I would love to hear which of the 3 looks that I did today is your favorite. If you want to see some more looks with this palette, if you want to see some different color combinations, just let your girl know. As you guys know, I am trying to catch up with all of the palettes that I picked up in November and December. So I won't be able to do, you know, a gross amount of looks with every palette, but I think that the 3 looks that I did do with this palette showed the wide variety that you can actually get with it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will in the future, if not this month, definitely next month, be doing my review on the other palette that I got in this series. If you did not see my haul, you will have seen the 2 palettes that I got in the series, and all of the swatches for this one and the other one are actually on my Instagram now. So yeah, check out down below and up in the cards. I'll try and link everything that I can, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be on Friday. Alrighty guys, bye.